In looking at a line on a graph, so basically the graph of a linear function or a linear equation, there are three key attributes that I need to know, or there are three key attributes that I should know about this particular line. Some of them I don't need all the time, just depending on the scenario that I'm given, but basically there are three key attributes. The first is the y-intercept. That is the point at which the line crosses the y-axis. In this case, you can see it's y equals 3. But the point itself is 0, 3, okay? Because x equals 0 and y equals 3. The other key attribute is the x-intercept. Where does it cross the x-axis? And you can see it crosses the x-axis when y is equal to 0. So here, for this particular line, it is -2, 0. Okay, sometimes the x-intercept is called the 0. Okay, so the y-intercept doesn't have another name. It's just the y-intercept. Okay, the x-intercept can be called a 0, and you'll see when we get into quadratics, sometimes it's called the root or the solution. But just for linear functions, let's just stick with x-intercept and 0. So those are two key attributes. And the third one is the slope, m. If you know the x and y axis, it makes it easy because it's just rise over run, so it's just 3 over 2. Okay? 3 over 2. Now, even though this is a -2 right here, what you're doing is you're looking at this right triangle and it's rise over run, but because the line goes up and to the right, it's positive. So be careful. If you're determining slope using the x-intercept and the y-intercept, just watch out for which way the line goes, because that tells you your real sign. Okay, be careful of negative signs like this that may confuse you, thinking it's 3 over -2. Okay, so the key attributes to learn are x-intercept, y-intercept, and the slope. Now, what if you're given a line or given the equation of a line? Let's just go y is equal to 3x plus 2. What's the y-intercept? Well, you know, because this is in slope-intercept form, there's the y-intercept right there, plus 2. And you know the slope is 3, because that's right here, mx plus b. So you can count blocks. You can go 1, 2, 3, and over 1. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and over 1, or up 3 and over 1. Okay, so it would look something like this. So you say your x-intercept is somewhere between 0 and -1, right in here somewhere. How do you figure that out? Well, remember what we just said about the x-intercept is when y is equal to 0, and the y-intercept is when x equals 0. If you take this equation here, y is equal to 3x plus 2, and I set x equal to 0, you know that's going to be the y-intercept when x equal to 0. So y is equal to 3 times 0 plus 2. Okay, this goes to 0, so you get y is equal to 2, which makes sense. There it is right there. But if I want to, let me make some room here. If I want to know where the x-intercept is, I have to set that when y is equal to 0. So if I go y is equal to 3x plus 2, and set y equal to 0, 0 is equal to 3x plus 2. Okay, I subtract 2 from both sides, and I get negative 2 is equal to 3x. Now I have to divide by 3 to get rid of to get x by itself. And now I get x is equal to negative 2/3, which is kind of like right where that x is, okay? So the x-intercept would be at negative 2/3, 0, when y is 0. So that's how you can figure out the y-intercept and the x-intercept mathematically. On the graph, all you have to do is look at it, but if it falls in between two numbers, you may have to calculate it mathematically like we did down here. Okay, and then the third thing is the slope. And in this case, we knew the equation of the line, so we knew the slope was positive 3. And there it is. We've got the y-intercept, we have the x-intercept, and we have the slope. And those are the key attributes of a linear equation. Remember that the x-intercept is sometimes called the zero. So if you hear that term, it just means the x-intercept. And that's it.